Yes, recording just. Thank you, Soumya. So far, we are seeing about SQL commands, right? So SQL commands is all about relational database management system, which is RDBMS. So here we are seeing about relational database management system in the sense where this SQL deals with the table where all the informations are stored in a table format, and whenever we want to retrieve it, we are using certain commands for it. By using SQL, we access the data, right? The same way we do other database, that is, we do have other database, that is MongoDB. This MongoDB is a non-relational database or NoSQL. So I'll be naming these as SQL commands, and here I'll use it. This uses non-relational database management system, or this is NoSQL. Either you'll name it as NoSQL or non-relational database management system. So what is this non-relational? So whenever I say relational, it means that the data is stored in a table format. So whenever we say non-relational, the data is not stored in a table format. Here it uses some hierarchical structure like a document. The data are stored in a database like a document format. Normally how the documents are stored. The same way here data are stored in a document format, and here it looks the data are stored in a JSON document like. So expect in the document format, especially if you want to know, then we can say it as it stores like a JSON document. This MongoDB is more popular, guys. Why is this getting popular? The early days they are using this SQL, but right now this MongoDB is getting popular. The reason is it is like the people how you think right now how we people think. The same way it is there is no any proper structure, and more or less in case of this particular SQL, if you are using SQL, let us assume I'm storing the data here. When I'm storing a data, my data is stored in a table format, isn't it? Here, for the first record, I'm having all the five information. I'll store five information for the first record. For the second record, I have only three information in the sense, and the remaining two places has to be stored with the null values. I can't leave this value as a empty. Even though I don't have a value, I'm supposed to place with a null value. That is mandatory. Clear. So this is all about here MongoDB, which gives us a flexibility in storing the data. It is not required to store all the fields when it is not there. It can store like this also. Now we people are going to see how does this MongoDB document looks and how to install this MongoDB document and how to work with it. These are the things which you are going to see now. Okay, just you'll be getting hardly one questions from this guys, how the document like structures looks, all those things. Okay, you'll never get much questions from it, hardly one questions. So now we'll go back and we'll see how does the MongoDB documents look and how to install MongoDB and what are the manipulation can be done in MongoDB. Listen carefully. Here, if at all you want to work with MongoDB, here in case of Jupyter Notebook, if you want to install MongoDB, I'll suppose to use conda install -c conda anaconda MongoDB. Here, since it is anaconda navigator, I'm using this is the install command. Conda install -c anaconda MongoDB. This is for installing. Just I'll show you first how to make the setup of it, and then I'll show you the document how to work with it. So this is a setup. So since I kept this execution, this particular code already executed, the reason is if at all you're executing this command for the first time, hardly it will take 15 minutes to do the process, 15 minutes. Okay, so I don't want to waste the time. So I installed already. So I mentioned install MongoDB. Yeah, it can install through pip also, Pavan. Various commands are there. Here I'm showing you people one of the command. After doing this installation, a lot of process will be here. Just I'm installing this Conda of Anaconda. I mean installing Anaconda for MongoDB, and after the next command, look at it. As you say, I'll be having pip install MongoDB, the second command. Pip install MongoDB. First, you're supposed to install it, and later on, you're supposed to mention pip install MongoDB. This is done. Okay, and after this, you're supposed to mention upgrade it. So if you want to upgrade, you can upgrade. I just tried this upgrade command also. After installing this by MongoDB, if there is some updation, you can mention upgrade. So what happens? This data will be upgraded. Well, what are the MongoDB are installed upgraded. So this is the first two commands to install it, guys. First command, this is the first command to install it. So it will take some time for installing this Anaconda MongoDB. Then you're supposed to mention pip install MongoDB. So after this is done, now you're supposed to make a connection with MongoDB. Sorry guys. Here you're supposed to make some connection with MongoDB, and here what you're supposed to, if you want to establish the connection, we are supposed to, just a minute. If you want to establish the connection, we are supposed to do this process. Guys, these are the predefined steps, guys. There is no uh, variable name here. All those things are predefined names. You're supposed to use this as a function. If you want to install it, we are supposed to use the function, no rule in it. So if you want to establish a connection between MongoDB, right now I installed in this particular Anaconda. If I want to establish the connection with Mongo client, I'm supposed to mention from PyMongo import Mongo client. Okay, client assign Mongo client. We are supposed to mention this particular key, this particular statement if you want to establish the connection. Okay, by default establish a connection. No, I don't want by default. I want to specify the local host name, and if I want to install it, then you're supposed to mention who, from where you're supposed to connect it, and what is the port ID of it. What is the host name and what is the port ID you're supposed to specify here. Okay, this is all about here. Establish of a connection. Either can go with this or you can go with this. Or you can use this format also, ma. Client assign MongoDB. Specifically, you can mention this path. Wherever your MongoDB is installed, you can mention path also. It's up to you. So those are the different way for establishing the connection with your Mongo client. So the first step what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to establish the connection with Mongo client. Okay, initially establish a setup, and after this establish a connection with the Mongo client. And later on, after this process, we are getting the database. So we are supposed to create a database here. If you want, in case of SQL, we have seen how to create a database, right? Here, if you want to create a database in case of MySQL, this one, MongoDB will mention DB assign client dot test data. Here, test data is a database where you are creating. Okay, either you can create a database like this, DB assign client dot test data. Either you can create like this, or you can create your database like DB assign client of test database. So either you can make use of any one of your guys. Here, this is like attribute, passing like attribute, and this is like dot client. I mentioned both the approach also. Whatever the approach you want to create a database, you can create it. Okay, and after this, creating a collection. Collection is like where you are going to group the document under the collection. Here it is like a table, guys. Previously we have seen how to create a database, right? A test database is a database. Now we are going to see how to create a table inside it. Okay, we're going to see how to create a table. So this is like a database, guys. Just relate with your SQL. It will be easy for you to relate it. And next is, this is next, creating a collection is like creating a table here in case of SQL. Here what you're going to do is you're going to mention collection assign db dot test collection. So this is how to create a table format. Here db dot test collection. Either you can create like this, or this is the procedure to create a table. Okay, guys, if you want, I'll share this document. You can read the document later also. Okay, you should know about the commands, guys. What are the commands is used for? What is the purpose of it? Okay, and this is done, guys. So we are seeing how to create a database and how to create a collection. These two we have seen it. First, establish the connection with Mongo client, create the database, and create the collection. Collection as in db.test collection is similar to a creation of table. And next is, inside the table will be we'll be placing data, right? This is what the next one I'm going to show you. Just a minute. Just a minute now. There's one more document, the executors file. I'll show you that one. Just a minute, guys, it is loading. Since it is a bit heavy weight, it's taking hardly half a minute to take it. Just a minute now. Okay, it has the process here. After completion of this, will come here. Guys, we can go to the next file. So just keep this till this in mind. Okay, getting collection, the same process I'm going to show in a sequential file. After this, the result is not there, so we'll have some error message. In order to avoid it, I'll go there. Okay, so till this collection will come here. So the same process I mentioned here, guys. Here first is nothing but, just a minute, where is it? Okay, the same process, Mongo client followed by process for establishing connection with Mongo client, then creating a database and creating a collection. So these are the first three steps we have seen so far, guys. So these are the first three steps which is required for establishing a connection with your database, create a collection. Okay, before that, if you want to print some statement in your output, we'll have the setup. These are the predefined setup. We are supposed to have it if you want to print some statement in your MongoDB. So there is a there is a function which you are defining to print a list of statement, a group of statement. I'll have print all. This is the function which you're supposed to define it. So like we'll be using user defined function, right? The same way here I'll be using print all to print all the information in my output screen as print all. And if you want to print only specific information from my document, I don't want all the information to be printed. If I want only the specific information to be printed, I'll be using print statement. So this is a two set of function I'm going to use it in my MongoDB. These are the function. One is for printing all the document. One is for printing only one specific information. Now I'll scroll down. So we have seen what is the step we have seen. These steps one is going to cover again. So after this, if you want to create a document, so if you want to create a document, in case of JSON, we'll be creating a table, right? We'll have a table and value for each and every table will be having it, right? Here inside this, we'll be mentioning as a post, and this post in case of document, in case of JSON document, everything will be key value pass, guys. So this is the column name and this is the value for it. So column name value, title is my first post, body is I wrote something, name. Like this, we'll be having a document. So this will be creating a post in case of JSON. This is how your JSON document look, guys. Everything will be a key value pass. Okay, we have created till table, and after this, we are going to create a post and we are going to update in our database. Okay, so it will be updating like db.post.save of post. This is the name what I have given for this document. So I'll mention db.post.save. Here I'm going to save this document in this particular database, whatever created. So this database is represented with a name called db. Okay, listen here. This name is represented the db. So db.post.save of post. This post I'm going to save it. So where I'm going to save it? This particular db. This db. db represents whom? It represents your database, and database has a table called collection. Inside this collection, we have a test collection. Inside this table, the data will be stored. So it will be stored in a document type. It will not be stored in a structure type. Okay, like this you can store it, or you can do insert operation. Either you can save like this, guys. This is one way, create it or update it. So, or if you feel that I want to insert, as we insert in your SQL server, you can mention insert operation. The document is there, right? So you can mention db dot post dot. Here we'll be using terminology called posts, guys. Post is used for inserting, for saving, updating, everything. I'll be using post. DB is your database, which mentions here DB, what database, Mongo client I'm going to mention here. Here, Mongo client DB dot post dot insert one. Insert one is the predefined function for inserting one particular record. Here I'm having only one record, right? One record with the title, book, and author. So assume these are the column names and these are the values for this column. So if you feel that for the next post there is no author name is not there, only title and body is known, I can insert those fields. This is what I told you. MongoDB is very flexible. There is no rule that you should insert all the column. So whatever the column we know, that is sufficient to install it. So sufficient to save in your database as a JSON format. Here, when I mention insert one, this particular one post will be inserted. So be aware of this command, guys. These commands are important. db.post.insert one. So what happens? This one record will be inserted. Just a minute. Okay. Guys, till this are you clear? Are you clear how to create a database and how to establish a connection, how to create a table inside it, and how to insert one specific record? Shall I proceed to next one? How to retrieve it? Shall we move on next one? Come on. Is it clear so far, guys? All those things are commands. Clear. Okay, ma. Good. Any doubt is there so far? Guys, this is completely new for you. I do know it. This is something high level compared to you. You should, if you want to learn MongoDB as a complete course, it will take hardly as 5 days. So just I'm giving you only the key points, what it is required, what is the syntax required for it. If at all some document is shown to you, it should not be completely new for you. Clear? Just I'm showing you key points alone. Is it clear so far? Respond me. Come on, guys. Are you people there? Yes. After a long time you are responding, huh? What happened to you people since Sunday morning, huh? Don't worry, guys, we'll complete within a half an hour. Guys, if we wanted, we can rush the topic, this topic yesterday, we can complete it, but I don't want you people to rush too much in a single day. That's the reason we are extending today. We have seen how to create a database and how to create a table here and how to insert the value. If you want to insert one specific record, I can make use of insert one. So if you want to fetch the information, what I told you, we have seen two functions which are created, right? So what are the function we create? These are the function which we created. One function is print all, for printing all the document from your database. If you want to print one specific information, I'll be using print, pprint. Okay, so one specific information pprint, all the information print all. Now we'll go back here. We'll see here. Look at here. If I want to print one particular information, whatever I've inserted, if I give pprint of post. So right now I've inserted this information, and if I want to I want to retrieve it, it is giving pprint of post will give the whatever the information I've inserted here. It will be giving the author name, book, and title. But what happened whenever each and every record is inserted, you can notice that it will create a object ID. So this particular JSON document will create object ID. If you want to retrieve this document, it can be done either with the object ID or with the author name. So these are the different elements which is possible to retrieve the information. Generally, if you give p print of post, whatever the post you have created will be retrieved. Okay, so if I give is post, if you give the ID of it, it will give you the at which time it is generated. It will give you the generated information. So when this particular code has been executed, this particular not code executed, when this particular document has been created, the created date will be done. So I've created this document as a JSON document has been created in the year 2009 8 13. I've created this document. So whenever you're retrieving it, this will show the retrieval time. So whenever you're accessing it, when this document has been created. So these are the common operation, guys, how to fetch the information about the stored document, like a select command. So either you can use this general post, or you can pass like pprint of db.post find one. So if you want find one, as I told you, I can able to fetch the information either by using ID of it. So if I'm using ID, it will fetch the particular information. If I know the ID of the object, I know that when I'm creating each and every data, object ID will be created for the data what I'm inserting in my database. So either you can fetch this information if you wanted by using object ID or by using any one of the key value pair. Here the first example I shown you how to pick one data by using object ID of it. And second, I have shown you how to pick the one data by using the key value pairs by mentioning author name. How can I fetch it? So I'm fetching by using author name. Here I'm fetching by using the ID of it. So these are the different way for fetching, retrieving the data. Okay, so we have seen how to create the database and how to retrieve the database here. So here the one important thing, key point you're supposed to keep in mind is what is the command. This is all about what is find one, what is insert one, and how the document looks. These are the important key points. You should be aware of it. And next is here in this particular document, I inserted many records, guys. One of the record first I written author name Samuel, then I given Edison, then I given Suganya. So these are the information I inserted. If you want to fetch all the data from your database, so I can mention db.post.find. So this is like a iteration part, like a range. So from the post, all the data has been mentioned, right? So here dot find, if I mention it, it is like a iterator. So it is like a iterator I. So what happens? All the document one by one, each and every document, whatever is there, everything will be retrieved. So first I have inserted Mike, then I have inserted Samuel, and then I have inserted Edison. So one by one document will be retrieved, whatever the document is in my JSON file. So how many times I executed, those many times these informations are going to be there. This is all about the retrieval of all the information. So if I use pprint, one by one information is going to be printed. If I use print all, no end of this iterator, directly it prints all the document here. Is it clear, guys? Clear about the commands of MongoDB and how does it looks? Come on, make a quick response. Okay, meanwhile I'll share this document, guys. Don't worry, I'll share this document. You can have a glance of it. Okay, just give me a second. Next, we are going to see with you people are clear, right? Next, we are going to see with an important concept called normalization. Okay, just I'll tell you about the overview of it. I guess this, but what happened? Sharing is not there. Just a minute, ma. I'll share this PPT. Just a minute. Give me a second. Is this window visible for everyone? Normalization? Yes, right. Okay, good. Okay, guys, we are done with this MongoDB. This is all about your MongoDB. First, you should know what is MongoDB and what are the basic commands used for it. And next, what you're going to see is normalization. This normalization is specifically for your RDBMS, which is nothing for your SQL. We'll be learning about your normalization. This concept came for your SQL commands. So, what is normalization? Normalization is the process of splitting a table into the multiple tables. Normally you'll be having data in a single table. If you want to split that, if you want to normalize the table, I'll split the table into multiple tables. So why should I split the data in a multiple table? The reason is we'll have multiple null values. If the data is not there, we'll face certain issues in this particular relational database, guys. You can notice that sometimes I may have the table where one cell will be filled with multiple data. One cell in the sense you can notice that, for example, student roll number 1 will have two mobile numbers. In those cases, I'll have multiple datas. If the person, the next person, if he doesn't have this particular data, he'll have a null values, right? So in order to avoid the multiple data stored in each cell, and apart from this, in order to avoid maximum use of null values, and in order to avoid these two process, and apart from this, in order to avoid repetition of data, if a employee is there in an employee table, okay, if the employee is in a department table, if the both the department and employee information are merged together, what happened? The same employee information will be repeated more than once, right? So in order to avoid repetition of data, I'll be going with the normalization. Clear why normalization? In order to avoid multiple data in each cell, and apart from this, maximum use of null value should be avoided. Null value should be reduced, and in order to avoid the repetition of data, we'll be going for the normalization. Normalization is the process of splitting the table into multiple tables. This is all about your normalization. Okay. Now we can just go through the statement, guys. Whatever the statement I have told you, I represented here. Just go through the statement alone. Is a process which allow you to remove the redundant data in your database. Redundant data in the sense repeated data will be removed by using the concept of normalization. So until when I can divide a data? Until the table is normalized, I'll completely divide the table into multiple tables. Okay. And why should I do it? For scalar values in each field. Scalar values in the sense each field should have only one value. If I have more than one value, I'll do this particular normalization. Absence of redundancy. Absence of redundancy in the sense I don't need any duplication value. I need only unique values. And next is minimal the use of null values. So as I told you, when the particular column value is not there, we'll be using null values. We can minimal the use of it by using normalization. And next is in order to avoid the loss of data, we'll go with the normalization. Clear? This is why we'll be using normalization. Normalization is completely a theoretical part, guys. So you'll be getting questions from it, and this concept is very important concept in case of database. Okay. So these are the importance of normalization. Keep in mind, I need one cell to be with one values. Duplicate value should be avoided, and maximum use of null value should be reduced, and loss of information should be avoided. So we are going to see how to implement these things. And next, so when I say normalization, we are having different levels of normalization, guys. These are the different normal forms. First normal form, second normal form, third normal form, boycott normal form, fourth normal form, fifth normal form. So we are going to normalize the table. So by mentioning these different techniques, these are the different levels, or these are the different types I can name it as normalization. So each and every normalization is dependent on other. So when you write this data in a hierarchical manner, you can notice that this particular data will be written like this. First normal form, second normal form, third normal form, fourth normal form, fifth normal form, domain key normal form. So this is the level of it. So whenever I say first normal form, it will have certain condition. And whenever I say second normal form, you should follow the first normal form plus condition of second normal form. Got it? So whenever I say third normal form, you should follow first normal form, second normal form plus rules of your third normal form. So these are the subset of it. So if you want to enter third normal form, you should have the rule satisfied with first normal form and second normal form. Then only can you enter the third normal form. Got it? This is all about your levels of normalization, guys. Keep in mind, usually wherever you go, they'll give only first four normal form will be there. Actually, right now we are in domain key normal form. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and domain key normal form. Now we'll see with one by one and what is the rule kept for one by one. First, we'll go with the first normal form. In first normal form, we'll say that each and every column should be in a scale. Each and every column should have a scalar value. Scalar in the sense unique values. Look at this table, guys. So as I told you, this is used for your SQL, which follows SQL language. Here we are going to have the information comparison only with the table format. Look at this table. What you are having: ISBN number, title, author name, author phone number, author publisher name, and followed by publisher publisher name, and followed by mm, phone number and price. These are the information we are having, right? So you can notice that these informations are unique. But look at this, look at this column, guys. The values are having multiple values. In the cell, the values is multiple values. In the cell, we are having multiple values, which means that these column does not have one value at one cell, isn't it? These are many values. So it should not be this should not be accepted. What is the rule that each and every column should have only one value? If you find some column with more than one values, your author is having author name, may either three-person might be the author for the same book, right? So if I find that any column with maximum more than one values which doesn't follow scalar, I should follow the rule of first normal form, and I should take the column which has more than one values, and I should take some primary key from this table and form this data as a separate table. So what happens here is you're going to normalize this table. If you are normalizing this particular table, what you are doing is you will place all the item that appears in repeating group in a new table. So what is repeating? Author name is repeating and mobile number is repeating, right? So these will be placed in a new table and designate a primary key for each new table. So you're supposed to place a primary key for each new table, and this duplicate value will be removed from the existing table. So if you are going to place this one, you can notice that where your author name and your phone, author phone number will be brought to the separate table, and the primary key of this table will be made as a primary key here. There is no rule that the same key should be made. So it's up to us. Here I have made this ISBN number as my primary key. So it'll be easy for me to relate these two columns. So this first normal form, I'm satisfying a condition. So in case of first normal form, I can notice that all my table value has my unique values. Unique values in the sense scalar values. So this is how we are supposed to know. This is how we're supposed to follow the first normal form condition. Guys, is the first normal form clear? How do we satisfy first normal form? Each and every cell should have a scalar values or unique values. If at all you find some column which is not having a scalar value, take the repeated column, place in a separate table where work is done. Is this clear, ma? Just give me a quick confirmation. I'll move on to second normal form. Come on. Guys, this topic is very much important, ma. If at all you have any doubt, you can let me know. That's clear, right? Okay, good. So this is all about making a table normalized which follows first normal form. Right now, the table follows only the rule of the first normal form. And now we'll move on to the second normal form. So in case of second normal form, we'll be completely speaking about the functional dependency. First, let us understand what is functional dependency. Then we can go with whether the table follows functional dependency or not. Okay, now look at here. Just a minute. Okay, listen here. Here, what is here? I'm explaining about what is functional dependency. If one set of attribute in a table determines another set of attribute in a table, then the second set of attribute is said to be functionally dependent on the first state. Here, you can notice that I'm having ISBN number, title, and price. So you can notice that these are the table name I mentioned as schema. And here, this particular title is dependent on your ISBN number. ISBN number is like a book pin number, guys. And here, price is dependent on your ISBN number. This is what they have mentioned it. When one set of the element in a table depends on the another set of element for its existence, then it is shown as functionally dependent. So this is all about your functional dependency. If one set of element depend on the other set for its existence, then it is called functional dependency. Dependent. So right now what you are going to see is whether the elements are functionally dependent or not. This is what we are going to see it. I guess I made you people clear about functional dependency. If one set of a element is functionally dependent on other set. Here, title is dependent on ISBN number and price is dependent on ISBN number. This is the definition of your functional dependency. So in case of second normal form, we are going to see whether the table is functionally dependent or not. So this is not required, guys. I given more than one example. Right now, let me move on. Then we can, if time permits, I'll come there and I'll show you the multiple example for each and every topic. I have 3 or 4 example. I mention it. If time permits, I'll show you again, guys. And next is second normal form. Here, in case of second normal form, what is the first rule? The table should follow the first normal form condition. As we know that second normal form is a subset of the first normal form. The first normal form condition has to be followed. And what is the second condition? All the non-key attributes in a table must be functionally dependent on your primary key, which is nothing but non-key attribute in the sense what they are mentioning is all the element which is not the primary key. Okay, non-key attribute in the sense which is not a primary key should dependent only on the primary key. Now read it. All the non-key attributes in the table must be functionally dependent on primary key. This is a rule for your second normal form. So if the non-key attributes is not functionally dependent on your primary key, then we are supposed to normalize it. So now let us go further. So this is the rule, guys. So if the data is functionally dependent on only a part of a primary key, move that item and that of a primary key to a new table. So here, if it is not fully dependent on your primary key, which is partially dependent on your primary key, then move the particular part of item to a separate table and make it as a primary key. First, I'll show the example, then you can read the statement, guys. Look at here. What is the best example? Let me see. Just give me a second. I have 2 to 3 examples. Okay. Okay, listen here. We'll take this example ma, for the second normal form. So here we are having, let us assume schema and this is column. Here schema I'll mention as column name and key I'll mention as primary key name, and these are the different dependency. Look at here. I'm having a table with studio, movie, budget and studio city. Even then, just a minute. Studio city. Okay. Just a minute. No, this is also. Listen here, fine. Listen here. So right in this particular table, I'm having 2 key attributes where studio will be unique. For example, if you're having AVM studio or some studio is this, and the production unit will be unique, and the movie also will be unique. Once the movie name is kept, we'll never get the same movie name again, right? So these 2 elements are the primary key. So if you have more than 2 elements as a primary key, what I'll mention is what is the name of it? If more than 2 columns follows the condition of a primary key, what is that key called? I taught you yesterday. Could you remember? If 2 column in a table is kept as a primary key, what is that particular key called? Come on. 2 column. Pooja? Okay, good, good. two column in the same table. That is composite key, isn't it? When I'm going to make only one table as a primary key, then it will be primary key. When I'm making this particular element as based on a two column, then it is a composite key. You can assume that this particular two column is a composite key. You can assume this one as a composite key. So now we'll come here. These two are kept as a primary key. Now, when two column is kept as a primary key, all the element in a table should depend on the two column also. It should not be partially dependent. It should be dependent on a two column. So you can notice here, budget is dependent on your movie, and budget for each and every studio will be varying. So there is no issues that budget is dependent on both the element. When I say studio city, where the studio is located, studio city doesn't depend on a movie, isn't it? Studio city is depend only on the studio. So it is depend only on a studio. It is not depend on your studio. It is not depend on your movie. So what happened here? It does not follow functional dependency. What is functional dependency? It should depend on all the key attributes, but it's not depending on all the key attributes. It's depending on partially. So in those cases, what should I do is I should bring this partial dependent element in a separate table. Got it? Should be depend on all the key attributes. So if it is done, actually answer I've written here, guys. You can write that. Look at the answer here. Mismatch is there. So here, if you want to normalize it, look at this. So this is a whole schema which has studio name and studio movie as a primary key. Budget and studio city is there. So studio city is depend only on a studio. So in those cases, whenever it is partially dependent, what we'll do is we'll bring those elements to a separate table. Okay, we'll bring those elements to a separate table. This is all about a second normal form. Second normal forms mainly will speak about the functional dependency. If the functional dependency is not there, remove the particular column, place in a separate table. Okay. Is it clear with the second normal form? Shall I move on to the third normal form? Come on. Is it clear? Yes, right. Okay, good. Listen. And next is your third normal form. In your third normal form, mainly we'll be speaking about this transitive dependency. Here, let's look at here. This form dedicates all the non-key, all the no, just a minute, guys. This all the non-key attributes of the table must be functionally dependent on a candidate key, either on the candidate key. Therefore, no interdependency among the keys. We are going to main speak about the interdependency, or I'll name it as a transitive dependency. So look, let me read this again. All non-key attributes of a table must be functionally dependent on a candidate key. Candidate key here is all about your primary key we are speaking about, guys. Must be dependent on your candidate key. It should not be dependent on all the other non-key attributes. So if it is there, we are supposed to normalize it. Listen here. So how we are going to normalize it? For first normal form, you should follow second normal form. For third normal form, what is the rule is? You should follow second normal form. Then if there is any transitive dependence there, remove the transitive dependency and place in a separate table. Okay, I'll tell you people what is transitive dependency now. Listen here. We'll go with the example of it. We'll leave all those theory. Whatever the implementation we are doing here, we are mentioning a theoretical part here. I'll take the example, some other example. Since I told you multiple examples are there. Listen here. We are going to see about the transitive dependency. Here, studio city, city temperature. These are the elements are there. So when I mention studio, studio is a primary key. Okay, studio is a primary key. So when I mention these are non-primary keys. So non-primary key should be dependent on your primary key. Now look at here. Studio city is dependent on studio. So where the studio is located is dependent on your studio. City is dependent on your studio. But city temperature is dependent on city temperature is dependent on your studio. No, it is dependent only of the location where the city is there, right? So city temperature is located on the city where the studio is located. It is not dependent on the city. The city might be anywhere, but what happened directly? It is depending only on the studio city. It is not depending on the studio's name or something else. So what happens here? Here we are having a transitive dependency. Transitive in the sense, Studio city is depend on your studio, and city temperature is depend on your city studio city. So what happens here? Intent dependency, and moreover, this column is not a primary key, isn't it? It's not a primary key or candidate key. Nothing is there. But this city temperature is depend on your non-key attributes. We are having a flow like this. This person is dependent on this, and this person is dependent on this. So if you find some interdependency is there like this, we are supposed to remove all the interdependency here by writing a new schema. So bring this city temperature separately by mentioning this studio and studio city separately, and studio city and city temperature separately. So this is how to follow the third normal form. Wherever some transitive dependency is there, we are supposed to avoid this transitive dependency. So any non-key attributes cannot be dependent on the other non-key attributes. So if it is dependent, remove it. So first normal form we have seen about scalar values, and second normal form we have seen about functional dependency, right? First is scalar values and second is functional dependency, we have seen it. And third normal form is all about transitive dependency. So these are the keywords, guys, okay? Transitive dependency for your third normal form. So the extension of third normal form is your boycott normal form. In case of boycott normal, there's multiple example I given, just avoid it, okay? I'll move the screen to the next one. And next is boycott normal form. In case of boycott normal form, if you have multiple candidate keys, boycott formal form does not allow dependency between attributes along with the candidate keys. There should not be any dependency between the candidate key. If there is any relations is there, I'll be avoiding it by mentioning this boycott normal form. This boycott normal form is the extension of your third normal form. Maximum they'll never use this boycott normal form. The reason is we'll have a loss of loss of relationship between the two table. The relationship between the two table will be lost. So what happened? Maximum will never use it. But even though, just know the information about boycott normal form. So boycott normal form in this is if you have two or more candidate key, then I'll come with the boycott normal form. Then when there is a candidate key, I'll just separate it and place in a separate table. More than one candidate key is there, and that candidate key is having the interdependency among itself. So this candidate key is dependent on the other column for its existence. Then I'll go with the boycott normal form. I'll give you some example, guys. Look at here. Leave all those information. This is a theoretical part. I'll show you the table format. Listen here. We'll take second example. Then this it will be used. Nice. Okay, listen here. Look at here, guys. Here, this is a table. Which table has movie title, movie ID, person name, role, and payment. These are the information. In this table, movie title will be unique and movie ID will be unique. So these two are the candidate key, which is eligible. Okay. Is movie title dependent on movie ID? Yes, right. Movie title is dependent on movie ID. For each and every movie, a title is unique. So these two persons are dependent on each other for its existence. Can you get it? So all the other person will be dependent on these two persons. Person name, payroll, what is the role of it, what is the payment, everything is dependent on these two candidates. But look at here, these two candidate key are dependent on each other. So whenever you have like this, when the person is dependent on each other, where the candidate key is depending on each other, we are supposed to separate this table as another one table. So what we'll do is we'll segregate it. So when you're segregating it, so you can notice that this is your original schema. Okay, this is your original schema. And here where what I found that this particular movie title and this movie ID is interdependent on each other for its existence. So I can bring this particular title here separately. Just a minute. Okay. Listen here. I can bring this. Listen here, guys. I'll show you what is the loss of relation. I can bring this title here. Movie and movie IDs depend on each other, right? I can bring this title here, but you can notice that this person name, payment, everything is depend on your movie ID. It does not depend on your movie title. Isn't it? It's not required for the movie title. Movie ID is sufficient. All these persons are depend only on the movie ID. So what happened? Your movie ID becomes independent. I can't able to place one separate primary key in a table, right? So I should need some relationship. I should need some relationship, guys. I'll complete within 1 or 2 minutes, guys. Okay, listen here. If you don't mind, shall we have for 5 minutes? Shall we complete in 5 minutes? So only two normal form is left over. Is that okay, guys, for you people? Come on. Yes, right, okay. Listen here. So what happens here is, here this particular person name and payroll payment, everything is depend on your movie name. This movie ID is left over separately. Even though it's a primary key, I can't able to place a primary key alone as a separate table, right? So in those cases, if I bring the person name, what happened here? If I want to place someone, so I'm bringing a person name, what happened? I have a loss of relation between the movie title and movie ID. There is no relationship. This relationship has been lost. Since all this information belongs to the same table, there is a loss of information occur. So mostly we'll never use this boycott normal form since we have loss of information. So but no, but we'll stop with the third normal form itself. They'll never go for boycott normal form. This boycott normal form is an extension of the third normal form. Okay. So got it. If at all you have more than two candidate key which is dependent on each other, we'll go with the boycott normal form. So the relationship is break here. So if you want to extend the relation, again what you'll do is you'll place this movie ID and movie title in a separate name by avoiding this person name. So we'll never use this one. So again we'll place these two person in a separate table even though they are interdependent, and I'll make this movie ID as a primary key and this movie title as a primary key and movie ID as a foreign key in order to relate the other table. This will be implementing this boycott normal form. Okay. And next is, just a minute. And next is fourth normal form. In case of fourth normal form, if you have many to one relationship, where many column of a table is dependent on one column, then I'll say this many to one relationship. In order to avoid many to one relationship, we'll go with the fourth normal form. For fourth normal form, I'll be using the condition it should follow boycott normal form. Apart from this, multi-valid attribute should be avoided. Okay. These are the conditions we are supposed to follow. We'll see the example of it. What is the example I can take? Okay, look at here. So we'll take this table. This table given. Yes, look at this table, ma. The table has movie, screening city, genre. So movie I have mentioned it. The same movie can be released in multiple cities, right? And genre is all about what other cities, the particular movie is a comedy or the horror movie or whatever it is. We can notice that a movie name is there, city names is there, and what is the genre is there. You can notice that one particular movie is related to multiple cities, isn't it? And it is having the same data has been repeated multiple times. It is nothing but multi-valid attribute. If you have a table like this, the repeated data is there. So I can avoid it by following the rule of the fourth normal form. Whatever the city which has repeated, I'm supposed to place in a separate column. So I can notice that this particular repetition can be avoided by placing like this, where movie and genre will be mentioned, will be mentioned separately, and movie and the screening city, the same movie might be released in 4 cities or 5 cities, whatever it is, place those elements in a separate table. So what happened here, I'll get the uniqueness of table, and here it might be repeated, we can't avoid this one, and this table will be further normalized. Is that clear with the fourth normal form? When we have multi-valid dependency. Multi-valid dependency in the sense one-to-many relationship. When you have multi-valid dependency, we'll go with the fourth normal form. Okay. And next is all about your fifth normal form. In case, just I'll give multiple examples, guys. Just I'm moving on. Next is all about your fifth normal form. When we speak about fifth, I have given 4 or 5 examples. Since last batch we had 2 days, right? So we had detailed one. So whenever you're speaking about fifth normal form, I'm going to continuously break this table until it follows these rules. Okay, it cannot be further divided. Whenever I find the repetition is there, a table will be continuously divided until there is no further division. So this is all about your fifth normal form. Continuously divide the table until it follows the condition or until the table cannot be further divided. So this is all about your fifth normal form. And the last one is domain key normal form. Speaking about the domain key normal form, here we'll follow the key constraints. For certain column we'll be having where the column should accept only unique values. We'll have some columns, right? This column will accept only unique values, or we'll have some phone numbers. Phone number only 10 digits should be accepted in this database. So all those conditions we are going to apply only at the domain key normal form, like phone numbers or mail ID should have a at the rate of and dot symbol, like postal code. All those information you're going to apply here, and that is nothing but a these constraint we are going to see. Apart from this, we are going to see primary key constraint, foreign key constraint. All those things should be followed in case of domain key normal form. Okay, so no insertion of anomalous data in the sense when we give the primary key form, primary key norm, when the primary key constraint is given, you can notice that multi-value cannot be can be installed. Multi-value for no, same customer with multiple name will not be there, right? All those things forms follows domain key normal form. So this is all about your normalization, guys. Let me give a quick review. So whenever I say first normal form, scalar values. Whenever we say second normal form, functional dependency. Okay, dependency. Third normal form, transitive dependency should be avoided. Whenever we say fourth normal form, boycott normal form, candidate key interdependency, BCNF, candidate key interdependency. And whenever we say fourth normal form, will come across multi-valid. Multi-value attribute should be removed. Fifth normal form, break the table into small table which cannot be further divided. And last is domain key normal form. Guys, is that clear? This is all about complete information, all about your normal form, guys. Yes, good. Okay, guys, we'll wind up the session. Okay.